The world's tragedies often have images that end up defining them. A 5-year-old screaming in Iraq after her parents were killed by US soldiers, a starving child being stalked by a vulture during a ruthless famine in Sudan. A video released this week of an extremely emaciated polar bear has served as a similar purpose, as a rallying cry and stand-in for a largely unmitigated environmental disaster. The photographer had tears streaming down his face as he filmed this haunting video of a polar bear very close to death. A man gets out of his car to rescue a wild rabbit from the raging fires on the side of a California highway. In October, the US president declared, "We are going to overcome addiction in America," as he outlined steps to crack down on the flow of the drug fentanyl. President Trump was met by protesters and a boycott from civil rights activists at the grand opening of the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum. The US president voices support for Roy Moore, the Alabama Republican Senate candidate dogged by accusations of sexual misconduct. At least 2 people are killed in clashes with Israeli troops, as thousands of Palestinians demonstrate against US President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. In apparent family feud, a Shinto priestess is killed on the grounds of a famous Tokyo shrine by a man wielding a traditional Japanese sword who then killed another woman before taking his own life. The photographer had tears streaming down his face as he filmed this haunting video of a polar bear very close to death. Equals video, which he shot on a trip for Sea Legacy, depicts an emaciated polar bear, its coat patchy, seemingly near death on an island in a Canadian territory inside the Arctic Circle. It searches for food in a rusted garbage can and chews what Eccles said was an old snowmobile seat. And it struck a nerve. It was viewed more than 3.5 million times in posts on Eccles and National Geographic's Instagram feeds, according to metrics on the photo-sharing site, before picking up news coverage from around the world. Photo by @Christina Mittermeier // This is what a starving polar bear looks like. Weak muscles, atrophied by extended starvation, could barely hold him up. Our @C_Legacy team watched as he painfully staggered towards the abandoned fishing camp from which we were observing it and found some trash to eat, a piece of foam from the seat of a snowmobile, as we later found out. People have asked why we couldn't help it, why we didn't feed it. In addition to being illegal to feed wildlife, polar bears like this one need several hundred pounds of meat to survive. They primarily eat seals and they struggle when they are stranded for long periods of time on land, without a sea ice platform from which to hunt. We didn't have a weapon and we didn't have any food for it. There literally was nothing we could do for him as we were hundreds of miles from the nearest Inuit community. What could we have done? What we did do was push through our tears, knowing that this footage was going to help connect a global audience to the biggest issue facing us as a species today. It is true that we don't know what caused this animal to starve, but we are certain that unless we curb carbon emissions, sea ice will continue to disappear and many more bears will starve.